Welcome to the Utah Football Fans Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, go Utes. Go Utes! Welcome to the Utah Football Fans Podcast, everyone. Thanks for joining us on a Thursday night after Christmas. I don't even know what day it is. I'm actually surprised that I knew it was Thursday because it's just like that week that just feels never ending between Christmas and New Year's. So thank you for joining us. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you like the video. And just make sure you're following us along on all of our social media, Twitter, Instagram, join the Facebook group. Make sure you've got the little notification button set so that you know whenever we go live, you're not going to miss anything. And if you're here in the chat, we definitely want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. So interact with us. Let us know you're here. Hi, Steve. Good to have you here. Oh, Texas Mike is here too. As always, thank you, Texas Mike. We do want to thank our sponsor, Thomas Orthodontics. Please look him up at thomasortho.com and let him know if you need any braces, any clear aligners, any of that stuff. Look him up, thomasortho.com. Let him know you listen to the podcast and he will hook you up. Okay, so.
How was Christmas, by the way, before we get into it? Good Christmas?
Christmas was good. James, you're muted, by the way. Just so you don't say anything and you're not on here, but Christmas was good. It's exhausting, but it's good. It's fun. Having kids makes it more magical.
Did you have your wassail? Did you drink wassail or eggnog, everybody? I had both.
Wassail only. My wife drinks the eggnog. It's awful. I buy it because I have to, but it's terrible. It's terrible. Wassail. I had my weight in wassail over the week. It was great. It was great.
I think my daughter had like 5 cups of wassail. She loves it.
Really? Okay.
She had so much of it. It was good though. We had a good Christmas. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. Leading up to Christmas.
Kind of low or relaxed or not relaxed, or neither of you are working or anything this week, so it's kind of a mellow week, I guess, which is good.
I mean, when you got kids, it's not relaxed at all. It was just like chaos, and I slept till like 11 o'clock the day after Christmas, still trying to recover. But no, it was great. I'm with you, Brandon. Like having kids, it's the best part of it all, and my kids are still pretty young, so it's still going to be Santa and do all that stuff. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
It's not relaxing at all because even following the days after Christmas, I don't feel like I've relaxed at all because my kids are home from school, and so it's just pure chaos. So I'm sorry, Texas Mike. I don't have the magic of Christmas in my voice right now, but it was still great. I love Christmas. But now I got to take down all the decorations, which is always sort of depressing, but kind of nice at the same time.
Well, okay. Shall we? So I guess we're going to talk the Vegas Bowl.
Do we have to? We don't have to.
Talk about that. Then we'll talk JJ. I see there was a comment already, but we'll talk about JJ. I'm sure that will probably morph into, to some degree anyway, portal, NIL, stuff like that. Then talk about the New Year's 6 bowls and give our predictions. And then I guess bowls in general and however that plays out. What do you think about that, everybody?
Sounds good. Everybody in agreement? Cool.
Everyone in agreement?
By the way, hey, Steve. Good to see you, buddy.
I mean, yeah, I feel like we need to react to the Vegas Bowl, but
go for it. Rand, give us your thoughts right now, right off the top. What are you thinking?
Well, that was one of the most frustrating games I've ever had to watch. I felt like banging my head against the wall the entire game, screaming into a pillow. It was so frustrating, and it's hard because I think we tried to keep a positive attitude all year long, considering everything that was going on with the team, all the injuries that we had to deal with, everything. But for it to end like that, it was like I couldn't even keep the positivity anymore. It was all out the window. It was so incredibly frustrating. And yes, Gary was very pissed. We were all pissed.
True.
Anyone watching that game was pissed. There's all the viral memes of Whittingham like just pissed off the whole time. And that's how we all felt. I really don't know how much detail we want to go into it with, but it was so frustrating to watch. So frustrating. I guess we'll
That's
start.
it. Go, James. You got. I know
look,
you got stuff to say.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, how tactful do I want to be in this? Unbelievably disappointed. I mean, we have an entire month to prepare. Guys are coming back for the game. Barnes is coming back. There's a lot of things stirring about JJ. The three of us, we knew he was gone way before then. But the fact that he stuck it out, he comes back now. He got hurt in the game, but you have an entire month to prepare, and that's the showing. I mean, it was just. I know the offense has been bad all year, but that was just next level. I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. I think we had 10 passing yards at halftime. I mean, I'm just watching every other bowl game, right? I've watched every other bowl game, and you can't tell me we can't do a 5-yard comeback route, a slant to get us something moving. It was just ugly from the play call was terrible. The quarterback play was awful. I'll just say it, right? Like I think that to this point, we all know. I wish Barnes absolutely nothing but the best going forward. But this season was just painful in so many aspects. I'm so tired of talking about the third, the fourth, the fifth string quarterback and who's going to start. And I just got so sick of talking about it. I'm so glad that it's over. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm really, really glad that the season's over. It was a hard season, and for that to be the way that it ends against Northwestern, who, let's be really honest, their offense was no better than our offense. That's how ugly this game was. And for it to come down, and Bryn said it. I'll give Bryn all the credit in the world. When their guy got hurt, Bryn said, she goes, he's going to come back, and he's going to lead a game-winning drive. And 5 seconds later, the guy comes back in the game, throws a dime, touchdown, and then we get the ball, and I don't think there's a single Utah fan out there that thought we're going to go down and score. I mean, I know that we kind of moved the ball a little bit, and Gary's screaming at the TV that we need to preserve our timeouts, and he was right, because odds are we're going to have to try and stop them. We don't preserve our timeouts. They stop us, game over. It was one of the most frustrating games I've ever watched. Glad it's over. Glad the season's kind of done. We can move on, talk about all the other stuff. But boy, it was painful. It was bad. And all the Utah fans that traveled and were there, I've talked to some of you. You have my sincerest apologies. I can't imagine the 6 hours each way, the money, the time, right before Christmas to go see that effort. You're better fans than I am. So that's my polite way of saying
very good.
Awful. And I'm very glad that it's over. So
way to go.
Gary, what do you got?
Well, thank you, Jordan, before Gary goes.
Yeah.
Huge
Thanks,
thank you, Jordan.
I missed it. What did Jordan do? I was ranting and raving and
he gave us a super chat. So
hey,
massive thank you to Jordan.
So, I agree with what you guys were saying. I'll say this though. It was wise to wait a few days before we actually gave a reaction to that game. I'm not going to lie. I mean, yeah, I wanted to break stuff. I'm just being honest, man. That was one of the worst freaking games I've ever seen Utah play. Let's be honest. Garbage.
Ever. I can't remember a game like that.
Garbage. I'm just now, but let me get more focused. That's unfair to the defense because our defense played good enough to win the game. Come on. We got to be honest. They 14 points. Yeah, should they pitch a shutout? Oh, I guess you can always say that. But if watching that game, the defense played fine to win that game. This is all on the offense, in my view. 90%, 95% of it's on the offense. Was there stuff to go around? Yeah, but I'm with you, James. I appreciate Barnes. I appreciate what he did all year. I thought him coming back to play was going to be a good thing. But that was one of the most horrendous outings of a college quarterback I've ever seen. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was 55 yards in that entire game. Is that what he threw? 55
I haven't
yards.
pulled up. I haven't even looked.
Freak, dude.
I know
I
we
could
had
have thrown for 55 yards. I get the injuries. I get who was there. Look, Northwestern, if you look at who opted out and all the stuff, they had like only 3 guys. So that was Northwestern's team. There is no way on the face of this earth that we should have lost to Northwestern. Now with that defensive output, if Barnes would have played a C- game, we would have won that game. That to me was an F. That was an F. I mean,
it was an F. I don't want to put everything on Barnes. He did not play well, but the play calling as well. I've been a defendant of Andy Ludwig all season long. We have said numerous times he can only call the plays based off his personnel, but there were so many times where you're just going, what am I watching? Like, what am I watching? They were unprepared. There was no enthusiasm whatsoever. It was flat. It was ugly. The defense, I'll agree with you, Gary. The defense came out and looked pretty dang good. But this is a Northwestern team that Illinois put up like 42 points on, right? They had to win their last 3 games just to become bowl eligible. This is not Penn State that we played last year. I mean, this is far
not even their 4th string.
And I'm watching this going, where's the guy, where's the team that took Washington to the edge, right? Where's that quarterback that dominated that first half of that game? Where's that guy? Where's the guy that beat USC on the road? And then I come into this game thinking, okay, Northwestern was not great. My score prediction was 27-17, I think. I thought we could put some points up. And we put up 7. We were lucky to get 7,
Unacceptable.
By the way. It was awful.
I mean,
awful.
I put it more on Barnes than I do the play calling. I know people get so frustrated with the coaching staff. I know, and I do too. I get frustrated with Ludwig too. I'm not saying that I don't, but unfortunately, I feel like Barnes sort of regressed through the season instead of progressing to get better. It's like the things that he had issues with, he never got better at. Specifically, holding onto the ball for too damn long. He won't
no
get
anticipation
rid of it.
either.
The last play of the game, we had a chance, 4th down. The guy was open, and Barnes holds onto the ball for far too long, misses him, game over. Like, that's just one example. And so it is frustrating. I appreciate everything Barnes did for us this season, but I just feel like he just never got better at what he needed to get better at.
And he got worse.
I feel like he got worse, and it was
There's
really
no way
hard
to have a month of preparation, and that's what we get. You're right. That last play was representative of Barnes as a quarterback. The guys on the announcers even broke it down. When Money Parks, I think it was Parks, wasn't it? He went,
was open,
turned around. That ball needed to be out on time. The moment he makes that break, ball's there. He catches it. The problem with Barnes is he waits for the guy to make the move or make the twist. He's open, then throws it and allowed the D to get on him. And that was That was the story of the whole game. Plus, he missed dudes that were wide open for touchdowns or massive gains. The guy would make a cut, start whatever the play was, a dig route, an out route, whatever, crossing. Instead of passing or throwing that ball on time at the cut, he waits for the guy to make the move, then he throws it, so it's late. Okay, so look, it was a terrible game, and yeah, JJ got hurt. That was a factor. Glover fumbled. That was a factor. We had 3 turnovers. They had no turnovers. But for me, with all of that and everything else, if we would have had a C minus effort from the quarterback, we would have won that game. Now, as far as coaching goes, I don't like to criticize our coaching that much. I try to stay away from it because, whatever. I'm a fan. But I'll say this. You have to be honest about it. If we had a month to prepare, and if Barnes is late on his throws and he's misreading the plays and stuff like that, well, that's coaching. That is freaking coaching. It's like, hey, Barnes, you can't hold on to the ball. Now, I guess he could have, during the game, just totally blow it. But I'm just saying it falls back on the coaches when you watch some of these plays unfold and Barnes is late and some of his judgments. Dude, that's coaching. That's how I see it. And I'll say this and shut for a second. But at the end of the game, we had not been moving the ball at all. It was horrendous. Yet it felt like we were trying. This is when my thought process at the end of the game, roughly 6 minutes or something like that. We had the ball. Mm-hmm. Typical Whit ball. We're going to run. You take the clock off and do whatever at the end. I feel like that's what we were doing. But the problem is this wasn't a typical game because we were garbage and we couldn't even move the ball. But we were running clock. And what was worrying me is we're going to run the clock out. And if the rest of the game was indicative of what was going to happen, we're going to have to give them the ball back. So we're going to have some time left. Well, we ran out the clock. Plus, we had to burn a timeout because it was a mess up. It wasn't even for a good reason. Putting all those things together, man, there were some coaching blunders in my view throughout the game, at the end of the game. And Barnes, he was bad, and I have to attribute at least some of that to coaching. There you go. That's my take.
Yeah.
I got one other thing to say, but let's go through that then we'll move on. But go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I'm never one who's going to criticize the coaching staff, things like that. I mean, anyone who watches this knows, I'm a huge Whittingham lover. I will support him everywhere. That was kind of the first game that I left it watching going, I felt like Whittingham didn't have the desire to win. It was weird. It was a different feeling watching. So? Yeah, everything you just talked about, Gary, I know that's typical Whit ball to just hold on to the ball and run out the clock, but you do that if you're winning. We were losing. We needed to go down and score. There was nothing aggressive about that. We weren't trying to win. Nice. It felt like we had just resigned to that this game was over. We weren't going to try. I don't know. My thought is everything we talked about in last week's episode with the timing of how everything is with college football right now. We know, we've talked to people who are very close to the program, that the coaching staff are the most stressed they've ever been, ever. And for that to happen with Whittingham, he's been doing this for 20 plus years. That says a lot, just with transfer, NFL. Then you have the signing day that's like a couple weeks ago. So you're trying to recruit the high school kids and you're trying to prep for this bowl game that really, how do you get jacked for and excited for? And I know that this is happening to everyone. It's not just Utah, but I felt like the coaching staff just sort of gave up. I really do. I hate saying that because I don't ever like feeling that, but that's what it felt like to me watching the end of the game, is that we kind of had just resigned to that it was over and we just wanted to get out of there. I don't
What
know.
are your thoughts on, so after the game, the whole game, I thought we were going to see Rose. I thought that they were going to, because just so those who don't know, Rose could have played. A bowl game does not affect a medical redshirt, so he was eligible to play in that game. We never saw him, which was incredibly disappointing. I would have thought after 10 yards in one half, we would have seen him. What's the downside? What's the downside? And then after the game, and I don't know if it's wit just being wit. I don't know if it's the truth. I don't really care, to be quite honest. But to come out and say, Rose, he wasn't ready, right? He wasn't ready for it.
I think he's
Okay,
being
well,
honest.
You're telling me that he was less ready than what I just watched? Like that again, that falls on the coaching staff. I think that Bryn's right. I'm the biggest Whittingham homer that there is. I think he does a tremendous job. I think he is a great coach and a perfect fit for the University of Utah. The reality is we went to 4 straight Pac-12 championship games and we won 2 of them. That's pretty damn good. Okay.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm not sitting here saying that we need to get rid of Whittingham after one crazy, weird, terrible season, all that stuff. I'm just saying, going into that game, how is it that is the product that comes out? And when there is an option of another quarterback who's on the sideline warming up with his helmet on, ready to go, he's less prepared than that. That to me is inexcusable. I mean, honestly, Rose, it's not like Rose got to the program 2 weeks ago. He's been there for all season. I know he hasn't played, but those are the things that really got to me. Put him in. What's the worst that can happen? He throws for 8 yards? I don't know. Batari comes in and throws a screen pass, and it goes for 20 yards, and everyone's going, oh, it's not that hard. Why can't we just do that sort of stuff? So, to me, that's frustrating. Again, I'm glad it's over. I think that, Bryn, I think you're right. We know some things. We've heard some things that this has been a really tough season and an incredibly tough offseason for the coaching staff. For Whittingham specifically, the toughest one of his career. I think there's a lot that goes into it. But every program is going through this sort of stuff. This is not unique to Utah. I'm not making an excuse that Utah is unique. Every time I get on Twitter, there's a new guy transferring out, a 4-star guy here and a 5-star guy there, moving and leaving and shifting and transferring. So it's not unique to Utah. It just, man, that was frustrating. I glad it's over. Crappy way to end the year.
Let me say this now that we've said all this. This bowl game is an entity of itself, as most bowl games are anymore, except for the Final Four teams, because people are coming and going all the time. What we saw on the field is not even close to what Utah is going to be next year. We're not even going to know what's next year. So what I'm saying, and even in the chat right here, and what I've seen on Twitter in particular, I've seen all sorts of people completely trashing everybody, fire everybody. Our quarterback room's going to suck next year, and on and on and on and on. And my view, I disagree with most of it. For me, it's about perspective. And the perspective is this particular game, under the circumstances of the players who have already left, who are injured, going to the NFL, the portal, and fully expecting Barnes to play better than this in this particular game. This isn't what our team is going to be. This idea that we're not getting transfers or good players coming to the Utah that someone said in the chat is bullcrap. Utah's getting some solid players. Our quarterback room, let's see. I think Cam Rising's pretty freaking good, and he's coming back. Isaac Wilson, he could have come into the game and thrown for 400 yards probably right now. He's coming into the program next year. There's a dude out of California, I forgot his name. The quarterback room is going to be just fine. We've had some great recruits. There's some good transfers. I am not and I'll go to the Coach Witt thing. People are slamming him. I'm not saying get rid of Witt. No way. I'm not implying that whatsoever. The criticism I'm having is what happened on this particular game. What happened in this game isn't really even, I mean, they're connected, but it's not even really connected to the season because of the guys who opted out and the injuries and so forth. This was the bowl game and how you had to deal with this particular game. This is not Utah for the upcoming season. If you think it is, then you're not informed. This is what it is. So I'm all in with Witt. I'm with you, James. Think about it. We've been in the Pac-12 championship game 4 freaking years in a row. We went to the Rose Bowl twice. Okay, this year it fell off the edge. Just perspective, please. We're going to be fine in my view. I'm all in with Witt. Someone asked the question, who are you going to get?
Yeah.
Nobody. Better. I mean, I'm all for Witt. I'm just saying, okay, punch the brakes. I'm talking about this game. I think next year we're going to be just fine when all the dust settles and the players come in and the guys get healthy. Yeah, we got some holes to fill, but I think we're going to be fine. So my perspective is only up on this game. Next season, we're not even going to know, as with all teams, who the teams are until the spring, because there's another portal in the spring. So until that comes and goes, we don't even know what our teams are going to look like. And everybody in the chat who's not a Utah fan, they don't know what their teams are going to be like until the end of the spring. All right.
We've kind of segued into it a little bit. Let's leave the Vegas Bowl behind. Hallelujah. If we want to talk about Vegas, let's talk about the Raiders.
Right on, baby.
Just hold on real quick. I got to add to something real fast. So I agree with everything you just said, Gary. If you sat down and watched that Utah team and that was your one introduction, and because I saw it all over Twitter, right? I saw the 12. Oh, this is the Utah team that's coming. They think that is not the Utah team that's coming. Okay, I'm here to tell you that's not who's going to be there next year. There's a ton of talent that's going to be new and returning. So, but I'm driving today and I'm listening to some national people and they're talking about the NFL, right? And they're talking about Gary's going to vomit. They're talking about Kansas City, right? Talking about the Chiefs.
Of course they are.
And they're talking about the dynasty of the Chiefs, right? And the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl 3 out of the last 4 years. They've won 2 Super Bowls, all this stuff. And it got me thinking, and I'm sitting here going, okay, you put that into the same perspective as Utah. Utah went, now the COVID year, we don't count it. Utah went to 4 straight Pac-12 championship games and won 2 of them. You put those into the same sentence as what the Chiefs did, you could say that it's that same dynasty idea. Utah has been one of the top 3 programs in the Pac-12. Okay. I fully expect that to return next year. Okay. The amount of talent we got coming back, the new guys, someone said it, the tight end room, the running back room. I know we just lost JJ and that sucks. We'll be fine. The defense is going to be outstanding. This season was weird. It was terrible in so many ways. That bowl game sucked, and I'm glad it's over. That is not Utah going forward. And obviously, we've got tons of time to get into that. But I just wanted to add to Gary's little rant there. All right, what do you want to talk about now? I want to talk about
JJ
transferring.
Thoughts on JJ?
JJ, yeah.
Bryn,
I mean, if you're here listening to this, I'm sure you've already heard Jaquindon Jackson is transferring. It was kind of the worst kept secret leading up to, and he actually hasn't officially ever come out and said it yet, but
yeah, I haven't seen
anything.
He's
in the portal, though. He's in the portal.
It's been reported by some national guys, and the rumor had been swirling around for weeks. I mean, we had heard it multiple times, and we do have a bunch of guys that are transferring, and we've talked about it before. JJ definitely has a different feel to it, and I think the reaction on social media has kind of showed that people feel very strongly about him transferring one way or the other. I think it's. I know that he struggled this year. He was hurt kind of the whole year. He'd come in and then he'd have to go out because he was injured. Um, but when we started hearing he was going to transfer, that one really hurt because I do feel like he had a lot of heart in this program, and so to lose a guy who was kind of such a staunch supporter of Utah, to lose someone like that, it just goes into what we've talked about so much in that there is no loyalty to your team anymore. And it's hard because a guy like him who was always out there praising Utah, like he was one of the faces of the program, and now he's going to leave for just because he's going to go get some more money somewhere else, which I get it. Go get paid, but there is no loyalty anymore. And it's so hard to wrap your head around that as a fan. It is.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in it. And I guess I have to give the caveat every time we say something that, well, I understand why he's going. Well, yeah, we understand because it's big. He's making more money. I've heard numbers from a decent source, and I think I know. So I think I know what it is. So yeah, he went and makes some more money. Probably, if it all pans out, he's going to make it substantially more. I don't know, but think about it. See that he's kind of indicative of what is bugging me about the portal and the NIL. He comes to the U. Yeah, he's not going to be a quarterback, and he was almost left the program anyway. But he decided to stay, and he changed to become a running back. But think about the effort and the time that the coaching staff has put into JJ and helping him craft his art as a running back, which I'm sure is going to be the position he's going to play wherever he goes, which is actually making it possible for him to even sniff the NFL. That's Utah. That's the program. He's had the truck. He's been paid by Utah money. And he's also been the recipient for the 22 Forever Scholarship, the Ty and Aaron Scholarship for the last 2 years, which goes to a player on the team. Now, I don't know exactly the dollar amounts or how that all plays out. So there's that. He's been the face of the team. All those things, boom, and he just leaves. To me, and I like the guy. But he is indicative as an example, in my view, of what is wrong with portal and the NIL. I wish him the best, but I'm not happy about it. But I think we're going to be just fine, James. I'm with you, man. I hear guys coming in. What's going to go on? Bernard's coming back too.
Yeah, Bernard will be back. Lever, we got a couple dudes. I'm with you. I get why he's leaving. I've heard the same things you've heard, Gary. If I'm in his shoes, I'm 20 years old. Someone hands me that bag. Yeah, I'm probably going to go too. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm above that because of loyalty to the drum and feather. Okay, that's great. It sucks. I'm glad that he stuck it out. I think it's admirable that he didn't say anything. There was the rumors swirling on Twitter and on Reddit and everything. He didn't say anything. He played in the game. He didn't need to do that. And then he's officially entered the transfer portal. He's not coming back unless something insane falls through. From everything that I've heard, he's gone. We'll be just fine. It sucks that he struggled with injury as much as he did. I think that we fell in love with the idea of JJ more than the actual production of JJ. I looked up his stats. They were fine. I think that if he stays healthy, he's can be a tremendous running back. But that's a big if. Wherever he lands, I've heard a school. I will see if that's where he goes. I don't know officially. I think we'll be fine. It sucks. It is what's broken with college football. We've talked about it ad nauseum. It's part of it now. I think we just have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
With it. It
Not
is
healthy.
what it is, and he's gone. So
I was going to just make a comment with
ahead.
Rose. Rose made a comment. Maybe I can't remember if she said she had heard or whatever, but that maybe JJ's leaving because he heard or knows that Witt's leaving. So I'll just say this: the information I have or know is, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's part of it at all. What really happened is he was offered more money. That's it. That's the reason he's gone.
Lots of money.
Period.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's the bag. Boom.
He got paid. He got paid, and that's where college football is. And we've talked about it as much as we can possibly talk about it. And until it gets regulated, it's just going to continue to happen. I made a joke. He entered free agency, and that's what it is. You know, it's free agency.
So I guess what we can say though, and this, okay, will lead us into bowl games. If you've been following the bowl games at all, you will immediately recognize that most bowl games, the teams playing are not even the teams that were in the regular season. The bowl games are a shell of what the teams were. If you haven't done it, get online and look up. There's several of them. It's Bowl Game Opt-Out Tracker.
Oh my gosh.
It's the Bowl Games Opt-Out Tracker. And it will show the game, each bowl game and the teams, and we'll have a list of the guys that are playing. And in particular, the bowls that mean nothing, it's like, okay, it's not even the freaking teams that played or are going to be the teams in the upcoming season. This is all because of the portal and NIL, and they've killed the bowls. You can't judge any of these teams. In other words, the teams of this season and the teams going forward with what we're seeing in these bowl games, in most of these. For instance, did you watch USC game?
Yeah.
Okay. Great win. The dude lit it up. Good for him. Third stringer, by the way.
It just shows Caleb Williams is overrated.
No. Both those teams had tons of players gone. USC, I think, had over 20 players that weren't even playing. We're not even out there. Now, I'm not saying all of them are the starters and whatever, but that's kind of indicative of all the bowl games. And for me, bowl games used to be a big deal. It was like, okay, it was the pinnacle of the season. You had this team and their record, and they're good. We'll come together and let's see who's better. That isn't the case anymore. We're getting, I don't even know what you call it, but it's not the teams from the rest of the season who are playing each other. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
It's basically glorified spring ball games because it's the second, the third string guys. And you're right, Gary, it's not even the teams that are going to end up playing in the spring or in next fall, because a bunch of those guys are probably going to end up leaving because there's a whole new transfer portal window that'll open up after spring, which is just so stupid.
You get different new guys will come in.
It's just, it's again, it's like we play this amazing sport all season. We love it so much. And then you get to the pinnacle of college football and it just like takes a nosedive and basically means absolutely nothing. We have to wait an entire month for the playoff to actually start. And in between, you have all these games where no one's even playing. Like, what is it? The Orange Bowl, Florida State and Georgia. There's over 40 players that aren't playing. How do you judge a game like that? Like, how do we get on here and predict who's going to win these bowl games when 40 plus dudes aren't even playing in it?
Yeah, so Texas Mike, exhibition. It's a perfect way to say it. Most bowl games have become exhibitions. They're not even a representative of the past season and the upcoming season. It's weird. The bowls are being destroyed right before our faces, before our eyes. It doesn't even excite me, to be honest with you, all these bowls, because I'm not even seeing the teams or the guys that played all season. Most of them.
Well, and it's not even just like, okay, the Vegas Bowl, right? Okay, no, let's be honest, it's the Vegas Bowl. We don't really care. The Potato Bowl, the Pop-Tart Bowl that was today, whatever it is. Okay, those games, no one really cares. we're talking about the Orange Bowl, one of the premier bowl games in college football against two top. What I've been told all season, two top 4 teams are playing each other: Georgia, Florida State. They both got slided. They both should have been in the playoff. On and on and on. All right, Florida State, go prove me wrong. Right? I came on here and said that they shouldn't be in the playoff. Prove me wrong. 40 dudes aren't going to be playing. Those are garbage. I'm not going to watch that game. It's a bunch of second, third string dudes that have never seen the field going up against second and third string dudes that have never seen the field. It's boring. It's destroyed the bowl games. I know there's always been this conversation of, okay, well, especially when the playoff happened or BCS, certain bowl games don't matter. Never to this level. This is just next level. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I'm watching Oklahoma, Arizona right now. And I'm watching going, I have no idea if these are the 2 teams that played back in September. I have no clue. I hate it.
Let me show you. You mentioned the Orange Bowl. I printed this off because it's unbelievable. So this is one of the NY6 games. It's one of the biggest bowl games there is, the Orange Bowl. Even if it's not one of the Final 4 games or the Final 4 teams, it's one of the biggest bowls historically.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it doesn't mean much anymore because I'll just put this up to the camera. That's Georgia's team.
The opt-outs?
These are the opt-outs for Georgia. Look it up.
Yes. So if you're listening on the audio, you're not seeing his.
By the way, this is Gary printing stuff off and showing it on his screen instead of just hitting this button down here that says present, which is pretty cool. But I respect it.
Florida State.
Don't let him change you, Gary.
Florida. If you can, look at that.
I know. They're full page lists.
40 players who've decided and have said, well, the Orange Bowl doesn't mean anything. I'm out. So I'm not even going to predict that game because it's not Georgia and it's not Florida State. Florida State went off crying into the sunset because they didn't make it, which aggravates me. And Georgia, I mean, essentially doing the same thing. They didn't make it to the final. So we're just going to whine and we're all going to leave. And to me, it's a disgrace. And it's, again, one of the, I don't know, the game's getting ruined right in front of us. Bowls are being ruined right in front of us. 40 guys out. Dude.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think it is hard. It's hard to even predict any of these games. I think really the ones we should talk about are the CFP, the playoff games, the 2 playoff games, unless there's other ones you want to talk about. But it's
here. I just want to say one point, and we'll get to the playoff games. Here's the thing, and I'm reading the comments, and I'm with you, right? Gabriel's not playing for Oklahoma, right? So perfect example. He's transferring to Oregon. Shocker. And then it's like, okay, why would they play? Right? Why would you play? It's a meaningless bowl game. Okay. Well, the problem is, and some of the Utah fans ran into this, they still expect us as fans to be dedicated, to spend our time, our money around this time of the year, to go to the game, to spend our money, to buy those tickets, to buy the plane tickets. And so it's like, yeah, I get that the Orange Bowl, it's a great game. It's not a playoff game. So, okay, it's meaningless on paper. I get that. But hey, still spend all your money and come to the game, fans, because we need your money.
Away, man.
And that to me is where it really bugs me. If I'm a Florida State fan, if I'm a Georgia fan, I'll screw you. No, screw you. I can't name half the starters on my team anymore. So I'm going to sit home and stream it illegally like James does everything else, because it's just, I expect you to spend your money, but our players aren't even going to play. No, it's just, nope. So that's my little rant. But yeah, let's talk about the games that still matter if we can.
Shall we do I was just going to say that, what did I have? Because I know there's some Oregon guys that are here. Best I can tell is that Liberty has like 7 or 9 guys that are opting out for whatever reason. And of course, these may be guys that never ever play. I mean, I don't know everybody. and Oregon has 10 guys that are opting out, which is
Oh.
not many. But Bo Nix is playing. I guess we could pick that game. Oregon's going to win that game.
Oregon got screwed, by the way, in playing
Yes,
Liberty.
they did.
Oregon
Yeah,
got
that's a
screwed.
shame.
Yeah.
They should have been
Anyway.
playing Georgia. Maybe Georgia doesn't decide to play. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, let's go to the two games that matter. Who do you got? Who do you like? Give us the Rose Bowl.
Come on, Brandon, let's hear it. Go.
Oh, God.
So the Rose
Well,
Bowl
no, let's
is
start with-
Michigan, Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama, Michigan. It's so interesting. I have gone back and forth so many times on who I think is going to win that game. And the ESPN predictor has Michigan at a 55.9% chance to win. So right now, Alabama is technically the underdog, according to ESPN. I don't know what the line is and
I'm
all of
pulling
that
the
stuff,
lineup.
James.
Right.
You
I'm
can-
pulling it up right now. Give
You
me a
can look
sec.
it up. Statistically, they're pretty similar. Initially, I had for sure Michigan. I was just feeling like Michigan's going to win. And as I thought about it more, I feel like the momentum that Alabama has had at the end of the season is going to push them ahead. So it like makes me want to puke, but I'm saying Alabama. Ugh.
Michigan's a 2-point favorite. It's you said it's at the Rose Bowl. So as far as home field, it's not really going to be that.
Yeah.
I'm going Michigan. I'm taking Michigan. I think the Michigan defense shows out, and I think they do enough. I think the offense does enough. I think you give Harbaugh. I mean, it's Nick Saban, though, right? I mean, holy crap, you can't count the guy out. But I just think after last year losing to TCU in this same game, I just think Michigan comes out. I think that's going to be such a fun game, though. I think Michigan gets them, though. Yeah, that's my hope. Maybe I'm just praying. I don't know. I just can't. Brent, I give you credit for picking Bama. I can't do it.
Janine, you're right. Momentum like the Auburn game. I mean, you're right. Alabama should have lost that game, but I don't know the way they played in the championship game. But it hurts my soul to pick Alabama. I hope you understand that.
Well, here's
Disappointed in
how
you,
it's
Greg.
going.
Disappointed in you.
I'm picking Alabama to beat Michigan because I'm looking at the teams, at least what I feel they are right now. And if you watched Michigan, I think they barely beat Iowa or had struggles with Iowa. And then you had Bama in a fantastic college football game take out Georgia, who was undefeated in 2 years and back-to-back champs.
No, Michigan killed Iowa.
It was ugly, though. It was not a pretty.
No, there was
bad game.
It was
They're rushing.
26-0.
I know, but if you watched it, it was just.
Yeah, it's not about.
Awful.
It was bad, and they didn't rush like. See, here's the thing. This is why I think Alabama's going to win. Is Michigan will win if they can run the ball. That's their bread and butter. They have to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
It's not going to be McCarthy who's going to tear up in the throwing game against Bama. So they have to be able to run the ball. They've done well, but against Iowa, they did not. I feel like, and Nick Saban, think what you will of Nick. That dude, man, has had a month to prepare for this game. Alabama's full of solid football players, as usual. And they're going to stop the run, and they're going to make McCarthy beat them. And I don't think they're not going to be able to do it. I think Alabama wins it. I'm taking Bama in that game.
Look, it's the smart call. I'm not going to pretend that you guys are crazy. It's definitely the smart call. I can
easily argue for Michigan. I'll just throw it in.
I can't, man. Alabama, they should have. What was it? 4th and 31. They're 4th
Yeah.
and 31 from not being here. And so for me, it's just I cannot pick them. But if they go on to win the national championship, I'm not going to be the least bit surprised at all. Because
You say it's the
Dick
smart
Saban,
call though, but technically Alabama's the underdog. So
which
it's like
it surprises me. It surprises me, Bryn. It does.
I know, but I mean technically they are. Okay, let's go to then Texas Washington in the Sugar Bowl.
Paul Shepard, right on, man. You can
Gary's
see it.
right. Bowl games are being ruined. I love college football, but why watch? Why it's true. I mean, that's how we're all feeling as
I'm
fans.
feeling, unfortunately.
Okay, Sugar Bowl.
Sugar Bowl, baby.
The ESPN predictor has Texas at 69.2% winning. This is shocking to me. What's the line on this one, James?
Texas is a 4-point favorite, I believe. Let me just double check that. Texas is a 4-point favorite right now. That's Bryn, I'm with you. That's a huge.
And I can't figure out what it is because as I was trying to look at like stats and things like that, and they're pretty even. So I don't know why the predictor is favoring so highly in Texas's direction. I'm going with Washington. I'm going to be a homer here. I don't come at me, whatever you want to do. I'm going with Washington. I hope they handily beat them. I think it's going to be close, actually, but I think Washington can do it the way they've been playing. I don't know. That's me. I'm going Washington.
And you got it, James.
I'm with you, Bryn. I'm sitting here looking at it right now, thinking when you compare stats, Penix is just a better quarterback, statistically all across the board. I wasn't on the episode. He got screwed out of the Heisman, in my opinion. The running game favors Washington. Defensively, I think it favors Texas. But, man, the explosive plays of Washington, I think this game is going to be 49-46 kind of a game. And, dang, it's going to be so fun. I'm looking forward to this game more than any other game right now. I'm taking Washington. I think Washington beats them. I just think that you give Washington this much time with that explosive offense, Penix should be 100% again by then. The downside is it's the Sugar Bowl, so it's going to be very, very heavy Texas fan base there, I would expect. But, man, let's go. I'm curious this, Gary, but in the chat, Oregon fans, who are you cheering for in this game? I would expect you're cheering for Texas, but as a Pac-12 fan, come on, Washington, let's go. I'm cheering for you. But what are other people feeling? Okay, Gary, who you picking here?
Okay, so I think in this game, I think the Bama Michigan game is going to be low scoring because that's just the way those teams are built. They're going to bash onto each other and hit each other, and there's running games, all that kind of stuff. I don't see it high scoring, but Bama wins. In this game, it's going the opposite direction. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored by both teams. I could see it being 38-35, very easy, something like that.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
I'm picking Washington. I'll just say it. I'm going Washington, and here's why. First of all, Texas has put up a lot of points on people. And Washington's defense is their weakness. I think they're like the 95th ranked D or something like that in the nation. So the reality is Texas is probably going to be able to move the ball and put some points up. Now, so is Washington going to be able to move the ball and put more points up? And I think they're going to. And I agree with Gordon, slightly UW. And here's why, is that Texas, their strength is against the running game, as I understand it. Well, Washington, that's not their go-to. I mean, they ran the ball good against Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. Now, if they're able to run against Texas, they're absolutely going to win. But say Texas stops the run. Well, Washington, in my view, is just going to say, so what? We'll just throw it all over the yard. We'll throw it 45 times because I got Penix, Odunze, their tight end, and another dude that just came back, McMullen or something like that. I think it is. They're going to throw it all over the place. And the weakness of Texas is their secondary. So Washington's going to match up well against that.
Yeah.
And so for those reasons, dude, I love Penix. I like the way he slings that thing. And so I'm all in with Washington. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a close, high-scoring game. Two games, two opposites. But I'm going Washington for those reasons.
Yeah, I think a few of you have said it in the chat, and it's one of the feelings that I had is Washington. I know they struggled with a few games this season, but they played Oregon twice. They beat Oregon twice. The way they beat them in the Pac-12 championship, I think that's a harder test than maybe what Texas has had this season. And so I don't think Texas will be able to stop the pass specifically. The way Penix throws that and the way his receivers can come down with the ball. So, but I do think it'll be close. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be high scoring. So that one is the evening game. Rose Bowl's during the day. This is all happening on Monday, New Year's Day.
Man, you know where I'll be.
You shouldn't be working that day. Everyone will just be in your pajamas on your couch all day long. Make sure you take the phone off the hook or do whatever you need to do. I guess you don't do that anymore. Put your phone on silent.
What year is it, Bryn? Take the phone off the hook.
Put your phone on silent, everyone, and just sit and watch football.
Take your fax machine off the.
Take your fax machine off. Turn your computer off.
But you got to. This is. I don't know. This could end up being two of the best games in, the playoffs history of the CFB.
I hope so.
If you had to pick one game to be completely lopsided, which one would you pick?
I could see it. I could see it in the Washington-Texas game going either way, only because they have the ability to throw up a lot of points. That's kind of their game, their games.
So does Texas, though. Texas is.
That's what I'm saying, is it could go either way. But because they can put up points, I could see it, one of those teams actually running away from the other and putting up a lot of points. Whereas I don't see that happening in the other game just because of the way they both play, which means the clock's going to run a lot faster or a lot more. Game will go faster, less points going up. I don't know. That's my rationale. I'm not sure. But
Bryn?
If I had to choose one to just be like a blowout?
Mm-hmm. Like last year, they were both great games. And then we got to the championship game, and it was just a total garbage blowout.
Greatest chance for a blowout.
So who's got the greater chance for the blowout?
I think Washington over Texas. I think that's maybe the higher possibility. I don't see that happening with Bama or Michigan. And so, I mean, yeah, I want good games. I don't really want to watch a blowout because those ones they're not exciting, but that's the one I could see the most.
See, I think if there's a blowout, and I agree because those teams have huge offenses. So if all of a sudden it's 21-0 quick, but I think that I can honestly see Alabama just putting it on Michigan. I can see Alabama beating Michigan, 28-7. I can see them just coming out and just manning them, out physical. And Gary, I'm with you. I am not impressed with J.J. McCarthy as a quarterback in big games. And so Nick Saban comes out and just says, stop the run, make him beat us. And if you can't do it, then you're punting the ball back to Alabama over and over. And if they get any sort of momentum, that's the game I can kind of look at and go, I would not be surprised at all if at the end of the day it's Bama by 2 to 3 scores. So.
All right.
And we're not going to pick we'll pick the champion next week.
Yeah, we'll come back for that.
Come back with our reaction to these games and whatever other news is out there, and then give our pick for the championship.
Well,
Hopefully
and
no
we
more
still
transfers.
we got to do our end of year awards. That'll probably be next week. I know we do it at the end of each season, and this season's going to be an interesting one to come up with all of those. So be thinking, Gary and James. You're going to have to start thinking of those. We'll do those maybe next week, react to the playoff games, and then talk about the championship because that'll be the next week. So thanks for being here, everybody in the
Go
chat.
Raiders, baby. Go Raiders.
Go Raiders, Christmas Day. That Christmas
Is
miracle
the Chief
was
Queendom out there?
fantastic. It was a happy day. Again, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you like the video and you're following along on social media. And yeah, let's get out of here. Go Utes, huh?
Go Utes, baby. Thanks for joining.
Love my Utes. Don't let my negativity.
Love our
say
Utes. We
anything.
love
Love my
Whittingham.
Utes. I love my Utes. Oh, man, it was painful. So, hey, Canucks, man, they're first place in the West, aren't they? Something like that. I don't know.
Go
They were.
Utes.
All right.